Welcome to the third part of this Intercad Quick Tip series covering the area of Solidworks productivity tools. My name is Alex Cock, and today we'll be talking about the Property Tab Builder. Effectively, the Property Tab Builder is a standalone utility that provides us the ability to create a customized interface to update the custom properties of Solidworks document types. And the types that are applicable are listed over here. This whole utility allows us to very quickly create a logical interface to streamline the process of updating custom properties. Now let's take a look at how it works. To better appreciate the benefits of the Property Tab Builder, let's start from our SolidWorks and take a look at a few items here. On the right of the screen, you will find a series of tabs, and one of them being the Custom Property tab here. By default, of course, the Custom Property tab is empty. What that means is if we wanted to define the custom properties of, for example, a part here, there are several ways you could go about doing this. We could go to File, Properties, and access the table here, or we could use this little icon, click on the File Properties, and manually update this data. Now, if you already had a template with this information pre-created, you would still be required to manually enter this information, of course. So where does the Property Tab Builder come in? First, let's go start it up. Go to Start, All Programs, 2012, SolidWorks Tools, Property Tab Builder. Now what this does is it calls out a nice dialog box that allows us to define the interface for us to input our custom properties later down the road. And it starts off with a group box. This is the top level interface that we'll be working with. Let's call this part properties. Of course, the same process would apply to your assemblies as well as your weldment parts. For this case here, I'm creating a part property custom tab here. And let's start off by creating, for example, a text box. We could of course create a second group box here, but it does not make much sense for the moment. What I need is just one top level group box, and from here define the interface of what I would require. For example, this is the header here. I would like to define it as a part, this CASCRIPTION description, and the property I would like to link it to would be the description property. What sort of input would it be? Text, date, yes or no. I'll select as text. And the value, I could link it to an existing SolidWorks property, or I could leave it as blank. And we can also have it applied to a configuration specific tab or the default custom tab. For this case here, I would leave it at the default. Now then, the next form of input we could potentially create is a drop-down list. For this list here, let's call it. Alright. And the actual custom property you'd like to link it to would be, say, drawn by. Okay, and for this case here, we could have a list that's manually created. That's what I'm going to show you here. Or you could actually read off a text, Excel, or Access database file. All of them would provide the same information. For example, this case here, the names of the engineers that are involved. So let's have a couple of names put in here. And if you wish to, you could allow for custom values. For this case, I would show it on the custom tab. Then of course there are other forms of inputs, like for example spin boxes, check boxes, radials. The whole process is just repeated. For today's example, I'll just show two different types of inputs. The rest are the same here. Now you could do a save as, or just do a save. For my case here, I'm just going to save it in the default location as template. And we close this off here. Now if you were to start up our SolidWorks, what happens now is that the interface has changed slightly, and you'll see now the benefits of how creating a custom property tab would be useful for users in the long run. First and foremost, you would find that on the custom property tab is still empty. Alright, but since I've created a set of properties for my parts, let's start off here by opening a new part, and automatically the interface that I created earlier has been updated accordingly. Right now, first let's start with a before and after scenario. Before, right now, Summary information, completely empty. Now what the custom property tab here does is this, my part description, let's call it Intercad Quick Tip. Alright, and the designer name would be myself. And when you hit apply, what this happens from now is that the information gets updated to the property of the part according to the definition that was set up in the property tab builder. Now, like I mentioned, this whole process applies to parts, assemblies, as well as welded structures. So having seen very quickly the process of creating a customized interface for a SolidWorks document type, let's dwell in a bit more detail on the template itself. For starters, the template locations need to be very specific. It's got to be in the same location where the property.txt file is located. And of course, if you are not sure where this file is located, it's probably located in your default SolidWorks folder, and that can be verified by going to Tools, Options, File Locations, Custom Property Files. Now, in addition to that, if you were to be using a particular document type, say for example a part, and the custom property tab had not been defined, you can also construct the user interface from within SolidWorks itself. And let's take a look quickly how this can be done. So let's consider a scenario where a property tab builder process hasn't been executed yet. Now in our task pane here, when you expand this, you get an empty page. And if you were to open a new part right now, what happens is you're faced with a blank custom property tab. You can go ahead to click on Create Now, which effectively pulls up the same dialog box as the property tab builder. So this provides you the option to create the property tab within SolidWorks itself, or as a standalone with the property tab builder utility. And so having seen that, we've come to the end of our latest quick tip session. As usual, for further inquiries on this topic covered here or general queries regarding SolidWorks, please do contact Intercad at the numbers shown here, by email, or over the internet. My name is Alex Koch, Business Consultant at Intercad, and this has been a quick tip session proudly brought to you by Intercad. Thank you.